Have you ever looked around and wondered why the rich keep getting richer while you fight just to survive? You work hard. You sacrifice. You do everything you were told to do. Yet every month feels identical. The same bills, the same stress, the same suffocating feeling that no matter how much effort you pour in, the ceiling never rises. It feels unfair. And you're right, it is unfair. But here is the part almost no one dares to say out loud. Money doesn't obey fairness.
They are
Money obeys power,
on the board.
and power is never given.
Move them
It is
as I
taken
command.
strategically,
and the wealth-
deliberately, and without apology. You stay financially trapped not because you lack talent or work ethic, but because you still believe in rules that were written to keep you exactly where you are. You believe hard work will be rewarded. You believe waiting your turn will eventually pay off. You believe sincerity counts for something in the boardroom. But the wealthy don't believe any of that, because they don't have to. They engineer their outcomes by understanding systems, people, and leverage at a level most people never reach. What you are about to read is not motivation. It is not save more or wake up at 5 a.m. If hard work alone created wealth, every laborer on earth would already be rich. They aren't, because effort without strategy is just exhaustion with good intentions. These are the 9 laws Machiavelli understood centuries ago. The laws schools never teach, your parents never knew, and the wealthy will never say out loud. They are not comfortable. They are not kind. But once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Law 1. Silence is a weapon. Stop bleeding words. Have you noticed that the poorest people in the room talk the most? They talk about their plans, their dreams, their frustrations, the day things will finally change. Meanwhile, the wealthy stay quiet, not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand something fundamental. In the game of power, silence is not absence, it is pressure. When you say nothing, people start guessing. And when they guess, they reveal themselves. Every word you speak is a piece of information handed freely to whoever is listening. Your complaints reveal your fears. Your boasting reveals your insecurities. Your need to explain reveals your desperation for approval. The moment you speak from emotion, you give others a map to control you. In any negotiation, the person who talks most loses. They over-justify, they fill silences, they try to prove their value. And in doing so, they hand the advantage to whoever is simply listening. The wealthy walk into rooms composed and quiet. They let everyone else show their cards first. They observe, collect information, and when the moment is perfectly right, they speak once, with precision. Think about how many times your need to be heard has cost you respect, a deal, or your peace of mind. Every careless word is leverage surrendered. Silence, on the other hand, creates mystery, and mystery creates value. The less people truly know about you, the more they are forced to respect what they cannot fully understand. From today, stop speaking to prove yourself. Speak only to conquer. Law 2. Become unreadable. Wear calm like armor. Think about the last time you were angry, nervous, or afraid in a high-stakes moment. Your face gave it away before you said a word. Your voice shifted. Your body tensed. And in that moment, anyone watching owned you completely. Salespeople know when you're hesitating. Employers know when you desperately need the job. Opponents know when you're about to fold. They don't need to ask. They simply read you. And the moment you are readable, you are manageable. Machiavelli warned that a prince must learn how not to be good when necessary. He didn't mean cruelty. He meant control. Control over expression, over reaction, over how much of yourself you expose to the world. In the game of power, calm is armor. An unreadable face is the mask that unsettles everyone in the room. Study truly powerful people. They rarely react visibly. Good news, calm. Setback, still calm. Provocation, unmoved. They have mastered emotional stillness because whoever controls their emotions controls the battlefield. The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't react. Don't defend, don't explain. Stay silent, still, and unshaken. Watch what happens. they will lose their footing. Humans fear what they cannot predict. We're comfortable with the emotional and the explainable. The unreadable person is deeply unsettling. It is dominance without aggression, power without volume. When you become unreadable, you become unpredictable. And when you are unpredictable, people either follow you or fear you. Either way, you win. Law 3. Wait like a predator. Patience is silent aggression. Most people are impulsive. They chase everything that shines. They panic when things go sideways. They mistake frantic movement for progress and speed for intelligence. But Machiavelli understood something the modern world has forgotten. The fastest don't win. The most patient do. Predators don't sprint after prey. They watch, they study, they wait for the precise moment of weakness. And then they strike once with complete efficiency. The same law governs wealth. The poor rush into trends. They buy at the peak, sell at the bottom, leap from opportunity to opportunity driven by fear of missing out. The wealthy move slowly and deliberately. They watch while others panic, knowing that speed is emotion, and emotion bleeds power. Patience is not passivity. It is calculated stillness. It is holding your position while others exhaust themselves. It is knowing that one precise move at the right moment is worth more than 100 impulsive ones made in chaos. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The wise act only when the outcome is reasonably certain. Everyone else acts out of fear, noise, and the pressure of the crowd." When you feel desperate to act, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, am I moving or am I being moved? In that pause, you will begin to see the game instead of being played by it. The impulsive drown in chaos. Patient build empires from it. Law 4. Leverage. Stop fighting with your own hands. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must learn to use the arms of others. This is Law 4, and it separates those who grind endlessly from those who build empires. Poor people trade time for money. Rich people build systems that trade for them. The poor say, if I work harder, I'll earn more. But time is a currency that cannot be multiplied. Once it's spent, it's permanently gone. The rich build leverage, systems, people, technology, and ideas that generate value even when they are not personally present. Look at your job. You may work 10 or 12 hours a day. Your employer may not even be in the building. You labor. They accumulate because you are their leverage. The question you must ask yourself is this: when will you start building your own? Every hour you trade for a fixed wage is freedom sold at a discount. Leverage is the art of setting up the chessboard so that the pieces move in your favor without you touching each one individually. It is not luck, it is architecture. The worker runs, the strategist directs. The one who holds the leverage owns the outcome. Law 5. Control the narrative. Stories move money. Machiavelli understood centuries ago that men are driven by imagination far more than by reason. People don't follow logic, they follow stories. And money doesn't chase truth. Money chases belief. Apple doesn't sell phones, they sell identity. Luxury brands don't sell fabric. They sell status and belonging. The most successful people in the world aren't always the most talented. They are the ones who understood that the story around their work determines its value more than the work itself. Truth without a story is invisible. A well-crafted narrative wraps around belief and becomes reality in the minds of those who receive it. Religions, political movements, corporations, all built on narrative, not fact alone. Ask yourself honestly, how many of your decisions are truly your own? How many things have you bought, joined, or defended because of a story someone else designed for you? That is the power of narrative. It turns perception into currency, and the ones who control perception control the flow of wealth. If you ignore this law, you will live inside someone else's story forever, working hard, consuming dutifully, and funding someone else's freedom. Start watching the narratives around you. Every advertisement, every movement, every headline. They are not communication. They are design. He who shapes the story shapes the system, and the system prints the money. Law 6. Substitution. Replace labor with structure. A worker trades time for money. A ruler trades ideas for the time of others. Who works harder? Who earns more? Who controls their life? The answer never changes. The poor believe that working harder will eventually produce more. But the harder they work within a broken structure, the deeper they sink, because they are burning the one resource that cannot be recovered. The rich never sell hours, they sell positions. They create structures where value flows through them before it reaches anyone else. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler should never rely on his own arms alone. The powerful never fight exclusively with their own hands. They build systems that run without them, engines of effort that generate outcomes independently. Every time you insist on doing everything yourself, you remain a soldier in someone else's army. The wealthy don't ask, "How can I do this?" They ask, "Who can do this for me? And how do I build the system that makes that happen continuously?" Stop thinking like a worker. Start thinking like an architect. Because in this game, whoever controls the structure controls the outcome. Money does not flow to those who move the most. It flows to those who position themselves so that everyone else's movement feeds directly into them. Law 7. The law of illusion. Perception is the product. The world is not ruled by truth. It is ruled by what looks true. Diamonds are rocks. Luxury goods are fabric. Money is paper with ink and agreement. But through the precise engineering of illusion, these things carry enormous power, value, and control over billions of people who know better and still obey. Machiavelli once wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you really are." The distance between those two things, that is where power lives. The poor try to prove they are real. The rich understand that being believed is more profitable than being authentic. When you learn to craft your image deliberately, you don't need to shout or defend yourself. You simply appear as the version of yourself that others choose to believe in, and they will fill in the rest with their own imagination. This is not deception for its own sake, it is design. And in a world where attention is the scarcest resource, the ability to shape perception is the most powerful skill available. Law 8. Exploitation. Turn chaos into opportunity. The word exploit unsettles people because they confuse it with cruelty. Machiavelli would call it perception. The world is built on imbalance. Some people notice opportunities hidden inside disorder, while others drown in the disorder itself. Power does not always belong to the strongest or the most intelligent. More often, it belongs to the one who remained awake while everyone else moved blindly. Because the truth is simple. If you refuse to exploit circumstances, circumstances will eventually exploit you. Systems consume the passive. Markets consume the emotional. Crowds consume the indecisive. The majority waits for certainty before acting, and by the time certainty arrives, the opportunity is already gone. The powerful think differently. They study human behavior the way generals study terrain. They understand that panic creates openings, confusion creates leverage, and distraction creates invisible pathways for advancement. While ordinary people complain about instability, the strategist quietly reorganizes the chaos into advantage. When economies crash, the crowd reacts emotionally. Fear spreads faster than logic. People sell what they should keep and abandon positions at the exact moment patience becomes valuable. But the disciplined observer knows that every collapse transfers wealth from the fearful to the prepared. They move calmly while everyone else rushes. They buy silence while the world screams. The same principle exists everywhere. When attention floods toward meaningless entertainment, the aware person captures attention and redirects it into influence, business, and income. When others waste years chasing distractions, the disciplined individual uses those empty years to build systems that eventually place them ahead permanently. While the crowd seeks comfort, the strategist seeks positioning. Machiavelli understood a brutal reality about human beings. Weakness repeats itself endlessly. People are predictable under pressure. Fear makes them irrational. Desire makes them careless. Urgency makes them manipulable. Most men surrender long-term advantage for short-term emotional relief. And every time they do, someone more disciplined inherits the reward. This is why chaos has always produced empires. Economic crashes create fortunes. Political instability creates new rulers. Technological disruption destroys old systems and rewards whoever adapts first. Every major shift in history punished the rigid and elevated the observant. The powerful never ask whether chaos is fair. They ask how chaos can be used. Exploitation, properly understood, is not sadism. It is clarity under pressure. It is the refusal to freeze when others panic. It is the ability to identify hidden value inside neglected spaces. The exploiter sees what others ignore: exhausted competitors, inefficient systems, emotional crowds, trends before they mature, opportunities before they become obvious. Most people wait for permission before acting. The powerful move before consensus forms. By the time the masses agree something is valuable, the strategist has already entered early, extracted value and positioned for exit. That is the difference between reacting to the world and shaping it. Law 9. Withhold. Mystery is the final weapon. The greatest mistake of power is exposure. This world celebrates transparency, openness, and constant visibility. Share everything, post everything, explain yourself, be authentic. But the brutal truth is this: the more visible you are, the easier you are to predict. And in the game of power, predictability is weakness. Machiavelli understood that he who controls appearances controls men. Powerful people never show their full hand. They reveal just enough to inspire curiosity, never enough to surrender control. Every mystery they create adds to their perceived value. Every unanswered question forces others to keep thinking about them. Think of the people who genuinely fascinate you. They never overshare. They leave pauses unfilled and expressions unread. That uncertainty pulls your mind toward them, because mystery is magnetic. It feeds imagination, and imagination is the engine of desire, respect, and fear. The weak believe they must be understood to be accepted. The strong understand that being too understood means being easily managed. If someone can map your fears, your limits, and your needs, they can control you. Every piece of information you give away freely is a piece of leverage surrendered. Withholding is not hiding. It is choosing, deliberately deciding what to reveal, when to reveal it, and ensuring that every disclosure serves your strategy rather than your emotions. Speak to be remembered, not to be liked. Because in a world where everyone shouts for attention, the one who stays still, unreadable, and controlled becomes something rare. They become a presence. If you have absorbed these 9 laws, you are no longer the same person who started reading. You have crossed the line between ignorance and awareness, the border most people never approach, because they are too comfortable believing the world is fair. It isn't, it never was. But now you see it clearly. Silence bends people. Unreadability shields you. Patience multiplies your timing. Leverage turns effort into systems. Narrative moves money through belief. Substitution replaces labor with structure. Illusion shapes reality. Exploitation transforms chaos into profit. Withholding protects everything you've built. This is the Machiavellian code of wealth. Not a promise of happiness, a promise of clarity. Most people will keep chasing comfort and approval, blind to the systems quietly feeding on their labor and emotion. They will keep talking while others observe. They will keep reacting while others design. They will keep hoping while others plan. But not you. Machiavelli never taught people how to be loved. He taught them how to become untouchable. And when you master these laws, you stop chasing money. Money begins chasing you. You stop seeking validation. Clarity begins replacing it. Move quietly, build deliberately, observe endlessly. And when the moment arrives, Strike once with precision. The crowd will call it luck. You will know it was always designed.